Take accountability for your life. I don't know who need to hear that, but if you can be honest with yourself and have a sit down with you and be vulnerable with you, I'm sure you can pinpoint a lot of the times that you made poor decisions as to why you are where you are now. And some of it was because you were just operating in a place of safety, trying to make sure you were good and you were in survival mode. Then that's okay. What's not okay is to be, a decade removed from those times as to why you are not such a good person today. Like somebody talked to you poorly in your 20s and you in your 30s, and now you treat people crazy because of something that happened a decade ago. You know, Oftentimes we point the finger and try to put blame on everybody else, except instead of, taking that self inventory and being like, man, like, yeah, that happened to me, but that's not an excuse for me to like act the same way to people that didn't do nothing to me. A lot of times we use what happened to us in our past as an excuse. What we do is we good people and everything's going good and they treating us right, whether that's romantically or platonically, you hear me? Uh and everything's good. The vibes are nice, the energy's good, and we end up finding a way to mess it up. We end up self sabotaging, screwing that up. And our excuse that we revert to is that I was done wrong in my 20s, so this is why I responded to this person that was nothing but good to me in my 30s. That's not healthy, and it's not something that you should be proud of, because if you haven't been able to dissect and move on from like those bad friendships and how people did you in your past, man, like you're gonna be forever in survival mode, forever in failure mode. I know we live in a time of social media where people don't like to take accountability for their actions. When you see, people in high positions and high power are able to just deflect and get away with things and, going about their lives. And we too do that as just everyday people. But what I want you to be honest with yourself and ask yourself, what has that gotten you? How far has that gotten you? To just put the blame on everybody else, just pointing the finger. And that's not to say like they didn't do you wrong. That's not to say that, the way that they treated you was cool. However, at what point do you stop letting that be a crutch? At what point do you say, man, you know what, that happened? I did the work. You hear me? I did the self reflection. I went to therapy. I let it go. I prayed about it. At what point do you just be like, man, look, I'm not gonna use that as an excuse for where I am and where I want to go moving forward. Because if you constantly looking behind you, you will never be able to get to where you're going. You can't drive a car constantly looking in your rearview mirror. And when I say constantly, I mean that. I mean, you can't drive forward and then instead of looking out of the windshield, you looking in the rear view. Don't be afraid to hold you to a high standard. Don't be afraid to forgive you. Don't be afraid to be like, I messed up. I know I messed up, but here's how I'm going to change that and fix that for me so I can be a better person to the people I encounter. You hear me? So yeah, that's the message, man. That's the word. Peace, love, and happiness. It's your boy Chris Wright.